Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to Be My Guest. Today we have from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, we have Paul Magnan with us, and he is the author of, Paul, would you call it a sci-fi?
I would call it a dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy. The Coming of Dis. It's book one of Q, K-Y-U, The Unknown. Now, this is the first book of it. This one. Now, this is, I didn't know he'd already written them. Thank you, Paul, for bringing these. You'll see them down the Upton Library. If you're into dark fantasy, this is your man. This was book two, The Oracle of Xerox Isle. Where do you get these titles?
They just come to me. Fantasy in general, the authors make up locations, they make up names.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not too outlandish and too hard to pronounce, I'll go with it. And as far as Xerox Isle,
yeah,
it just popped in my head, and there it is.
Who does your beautiful covers?
Actually, that was through Amazon. I published them through Amazon, and that was part of what their covers were. And they have, I forget what they called that particular style of cover. Like jewel tones.
Yeah, and then you've got the book three was the Grimoire, the French, right?
Yeah, the Grimoire, yes.
That's that one. And the very first, the fourth one was World's End. Book four, Conclusion. Now, this was the end of it. Now, the one that Paul sent me was the first one. And also, he brought in today, Veering from the Straight and Narrow. These were short stories?
Yes, they are.
What did you mean by the straight and narrow? What did you mean by that?
Oh, they're not traditional short stories. They are some are dark fantasy, some are horror, some are actually humorous. And it's almost speculative fiction. Actually, a lot of them are speculative fiction.
This is great. Welcome to worlds where in the town of Bertram's Cross, the consequences for infidelity and murder are more horrifying than one can imagine. And he's talking about all these different, at turns horrific, wondrous, and humorous. The stories contained in this book will take you off the well-worn path and down roads that will make you laugh and hide under the covers. Welcome, traveler. But be warned, your view of the world will never be the same. Paul's got a great, I always tell my authors, put your picture on the back so that we can see. It looks just like him. Anyway, he walked in, I'm like, Paul. I knew who that was. When did you start writing, Paul?
In earnest, in the early 80s. I always had an interest in writing, pretty much since grade school.
Yeah.
And it went on and off. And throughout high school, and I started writing in earnest in the early 80s, but then I had a lull where, well, life happened. I got married, I had children, bought a house, life sort of got in the way, as life quite often does. But around 12 years ago, I looked at some of my old manuscripts for what became the first book of Q, The Unknown. And I thought, I can do something with this. And I got down and I started mapping out places and characters and plot lines and character arcs. And I just started putting my fingers to the keyboard, and there it is.
Does it come to you as you're typing?
To an extent. I try to have an idea, maybe a skeleton outline. I know how it starts and I know how I want it to end, and I know what I want the characters to do. But as I'm writing, I quite often surprise myself, as many authors will attest. I'll say, I wasn't expecting that to happen, but it works.
Yeah.
And I kept it in there.
You edited your own books too? That's great. A lot of people think they have to get someone else to edit it, but if you're pretty verbal and you're well educated in writing, of course, why not?
Right.
Now, you were also at the December Rhode Island expo, the Authors Expo.
Yes, I
which
was.
moved from what, Cranston to where?
It moved from the roads on the Patuxent to Crown. Oh, God, this place
Crown
in Warwick.
Plaza?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Crown Plaza.
That's a hotel, right?
Yes, it is.
How did they fit? Now it got me going. I'm wondering how on earth, I've seen their activity rooms and wedding rooms. Were those big enough for all of you, really?
Yes, it was. It was actually plenty of room.
That's
They
good.
had an area there where they, maybe it was a function room that they had. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I think one of the authors said to me that she'd been there, and she said they didn't have as many people, obviously with COVID, but she said it went very well.
It did. It did.
Yeah,
It
Steve
did.
Porter and Don. Steve has been a guest on the show many times, and it's always a pleasure because I let people know. He's got this publishing company right over there in Rhode Island.
Yes, he does.
Paul, where have you been? You mentioned that you had been on WNRI radio.
Yes.
Out of where's that out of?
Woonsocket.
Woonsocket, and I was going to say this is so important. I hate it when that happens. This was the first. What year did you write the first one?
I believe that was published in 2016, and it's interesting because the first two books of that series were actually published by an independent publisher. She was based in Vancouver, Canada, that I've gotten to know online over the years.
Yeah.
It was called Writers Amuse Me Publishing,
Yeah.
and they taught me a lot about editing. They taught me a lot about the business of publishing itself. But unfortunately, like a lot of small independent publishers, they couldn't hold on.
No.
And I got a sad letter from Mary, who was the one who ran it, saying, "I'm sorry, we can't keep publishing your books." And she gave me a letter making sure all the rights were reverted back to me,
Right.
which is very important.
Correct. Very important. I'm super in favor of self-publishing. A lot of authors come in and they're new, and I spent about a year waiting for a reaction from the top publishers, and I'm thinking, they found out the hard way that you're wasting your time in a way. Get yourself out there first.
Right.
Really get out there, then start sending them if you want to. But getting out there is big.
Yes. It's a lot of self-promotion, which I confess I am getting better at it, per the fact that I'm here.
Yeah.
And but it was hard for me because personality-wise, I tend to try to keep a low key, but in this business, you need to push yourself. You need to get out. You need to show people, hey, this is what I've done. Give it a shot. Read it. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, at least give it a shot.
Exactly, with the COVID, Paul, I think a lot of authors got very depressed. They said, well, Jan, I can't contact somebody if they're closed. I'm like, that's right, but they're going to open. And do you
Yes.
like to be a first on the list? Get out there.
Yes.
And now they're opening the bookshops. I don't know of any bookshop that's closed. Even the senior centers, they'll say, why are you sending me to a senior center? I said, because they read too, and they
Of
have
course.
grandchildren and children. I had an author go out to our wonderful one out in Mendon, and I think she was thinking, well, I'll give it a shot. I think she sold 10 or 15 books.
That's excellent.
Who
That's
knew?
excellent.
We're talking with Paul Magnan, and he is the author of 4 books of dark fantasy. And this first one is called The Coming of Dis. This is the one he sent me. Book 1 of Q, The Unknown. How can they reach you? You get your book.
It's available on Amazon. Just go to books section of Amazon and put down my name, Paul Magnan. I have an author page on Amazon. And the books are right there. You can get them either in print form or in Kindle form. So right now the books on Amazon are $13.99 each, and the Kindle I believe is $3.99. But sometimes those prices go down,
Yeah,
so you keep an eye out for that.
definitely.
So,
Yeah, I mean, this is the first one, the one we were talking about. Then there's a second one, The Oracle of Xerox Isle.
yes.
You've got a great way of thinking up cool names. the Grimoire, French, and Paul is French.
Yes.
And then we have Book 4 was World. This is great right now. The World's End. Oh. Okay, maybe save that one a little bit till later. But they're so cool, and you are good at making up at the words of these. Were you always like that as a kid? Could you make up things?
Yes.
What did your teachers? They must have liked you in English class.
Oh, they did. They did. I gave them some very interesting stories.
I'll bet.
And in fact, in one of my high school classes, we were tasked to write a short story.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote of an actual physical war between McDonald's and Burger King.
Oh. Did you get that out there for them to read? No.
Yeah, well, yeah, the teacher read it, and yeah, he liked it. He gave it an A. So
you got an A on it.
Yes.
Oh my God! Well, see, you were already. What grade was that?
I believe that was junior year. My
high school. So you were already like 17 or 16. Depends on your birthday, right? So you were already on your way. But it didn't dawn on you yet that you were going to be a terrific dark fantasy author.
Well, no, I didn't. I wasn't sure how that was going to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, what I have now, I'm very happy with. I didn't see this coming back when I was 18 years old.
What did you want to do?
Actually, I did want to be a writer. I've always wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
But I was always told, you can't depend on that. You got to get a real job. You have to. And which is practical advice. You know, I did go get a real job, so to say, and you know, I lived life like so many other people did, but I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to write.
Better late than never.
That's right.
And there are a lot of late bloomers out there. Now you got the baby boomers, late bloomers, right behind us Gen X, and more and more are going out on their own. The entrepreneur spirit, I love that. Give us an idea. Don't give it away, but give us the idea. Kind of whet their appetite for what's going on in this book.
Okay, the book is set on an alternate reality, an alternate world, where there's a continent that is completely surrounded by a mist that I call the Dizzying Curtain. And inside the Dizzying Curtain, it's literally hell. It's sort of like Dante and John Milton gone wild. And the creatures inside are called infernals, and they are led by stronger creatures that are called Diaboli Domini, which obviously has Latin roots, so that's where I got that name from. But the thing of it is, the continent is broken up into 4 territories, and they know that this danger is right outside and it's encroaching, but they are so busy with their own nationalism and internecine warfare that they don't really pay attention to the real danger that's around them. So the character Q the Unknown is an arena fighter in what is sadly the most popular sport in that world, which is to the death arena fighting, like the Roman gladiators. But he has a darkness that covers his face. Even he doesn't know what he looks like, which is
that's weird.
The unknown part.
That is cool.
And when he's angry, his hands turn into claws that can rend flesh. So he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving anything away when I say that part of his heritage is from beyond the Dizzying Curtain. He is part infernal.
Yeah.
But he values his human half more, and come to find out that he has abilities even beyond what he knows, and he is put in a position to try to get everyone to say, hey, you know, stop this internal fighting. We need to, you know, stick together and fight the real danger, which is coming at us. That's going to tear us apart.
So every one of your 4 books is about the same person.
Essentially, yes.
It's about the same person. That's quite an idea, not knowing really who you are and not knowing what your face looks like. That is bizarre. What do your 2 sons think of this? They think Dad's different.
Yes. Yeah, they're good with it. They like it.
They do.
Yes.
That is. I know that there's so. I don't know, Paul, if you noticed, but there's so many young adult books on fantasy And also, what's that new thing with, I don't like it, it's almost like a comic book. Graphic, is it?
Yes, graphic novels.
Do you
yes.
like that? I don't know.
I haven't read any yet.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going backwards rather than forwards. But it seems to be the rage. I prefer this, of course. Now,
Yes,
did you say your
yes.
book is also on Kindle?
Yes.
Your books are on Kindle, too.
Yes, they are.
Where are you going to appear in coming up? Where are you going to be?
Well, I'm going to I am going to be returning to the expo
Yep.
at the end of the year. I will be at Rhode Island Comic Con when it comes to Rhode Island again in, I think it's November, when it's at downtown Providence, the Civic Center, the Convention Center.
What does Comic-Con mean, Paul?
It's basically, I'm not sure how to describe it per se. It's a lot of cosplay. You see people walking around dressed up as their favorite superheroes, and you have things for sale, like T-shirts and stuff like that, and you have celebrities there that sign autographs.
Yeah.
I know this last year William Shatner was there.
Oh.
So
That's
it's a
cool.
4-day event
Yeah.
in Providence.
Was Shatner all dressed up in his...
I don't know. I didn't see him.
Oh, he was there, but you missed him, right?
Yes,
Oh,
because
my
I was too busy at my booth trying to sell my books, which was good. I very much enjoyed that.
I hear you. Now, you're going to be able to borrow these books down at the Upton Library below us, and at the dedicated local authors wall. And The Coming of Dis was the first one, okay? Book 1 of Q, The Unknown, and then it just goes from there. Now, what's coming up now in your new book, in your writing? Are you going to do something similar?
Well, I've been concentrating on short stories lately. I've had a number of them published. In fact, my last short story that was published was in an anthology called Violent Vixens, an homage to Grindhouse Horror.
Oh my God!
That was put out through a publisher called Dark Peninsula Press.
That's
that came out
appropriate,
back
yeah.
in August.
Oh my God! You guys hooked up really well
Yes.
with your genre, and then what they do.
Right.
It's like kismet. How'd that go?
Good.
Yeah.
In fact, a few of the short stories in Veering from the Straight and Narrow were previously published
They
in other
were.
venues. Some
Yeah.
I wrote specifically for that book, but others were previously published. And when I list that in,
Oh yeah, you were
The
in
table of contents.
the Sanitarium magazine.
yes,
Flavors of Paranoia. First published in Blood Moon Rising magazine. Oh my God! First published in Flashes in the Dark. What is this thing? This sounds interesting. Sanitarium magazine.
yes. Actually, it's a magazine that's published in Great Britain,
Okay.
but it is for. Even copies of that are available on Amazon.
Yeah.
So,
First published as Gene and Charlie in E-Fiction magazine.
yes.
So this sanitarium thing really, I don't know why it's grabbing me. I don't know why, but it just does. So this is his book of short stories, and it's called Veering from the Straight and Narrow. They're different. That's all. They're different. They make you kind of think outside the box.
Exactly.
That's what you do.
Exactly.
How did they get a hold of you, get your books? How did they reach you?
As through Amazon, or if Association of Rhode Island Authors has an event such as a book expo or a Rhode Island Comic Con, I will be there, and I would love to see people in person to come, and I will autograph the book and have it personalized. So during any of these events, I would love to see people there. So come on down.
We've got to get you up this way. There are so many places in Massachusetts and all over New England.
Oh, I would love to.
Oh, I get you. This is too good. This is detailed. Rhode Island can't have you. They're not the only one who can have you. For God's sake, we got to get you out.
Oh, I thank you. I do appreciate
This
it,
is
and
so
I would love
popular.
to.
This is popular. You nailed it. Getting into this time of in our era of living, this is really big. Dark fantasy, that type of thing. I see it when I go in a bookstore. And I'm curious about it. I'm thinking that person has got one H of an imagination. You had it when you were a child.
Yes.
Okay, so your next thing you think is going to be short stories, right?
I believe so. I've been writing them and sending them out, and that's a tough market to crack,
Yeah.
especially the pro markets. I've only had a couple of pro stories published where they give you it's like 6 cents a word, and that's a good price for a short story.
But
that's a lot of exposure there. There's a lot of publicity there,
Yeah.
and yes, how you can really get your name out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that going online and of course getting it out there, that's one thing, but I really tend to favor in person.
Mm-hmm.
In person. People I want to meet the author. I want to feel the book.
Right.
I'm not
right.
into Kindle. I've got a friend who's, she's always doing, no. I want to feel it, smell it. It's brand new.
Yes.
There's nothing like smelling of a brand new book.
No.
You don't feel the same way?
Nothing like it.
Paul, he's a beautiful last name, Magnan, and that is French.
Yes, it is.
Are you Parisian or Canadian?
Canadian.
Okay, so you speak Canuck.
Not really. Well, when I was very young, I did, but my family's been here for about 3 or 4 generations.
Yeah.
My paternal grandmother did speak French to me. Unfortunately, she passed away when I was 7.
Oh, gosh.
And no one really continued with that. So words, phrases, okay, but to have an actual conversation, sadly, I cannot do it.
I learned Parisian. I had years of it in school. I mean, if you were college prep, you're taking a language, it's either Spanish or French.
Right.
But I thought French sounds like fun. And the kids told me later, Spanish is easier. Right. I could speak it better than I could take the written tests. I can speak it fairly well. I haven't lost it.
That's good.
I know one thing is, where's the bathroom? Où est la salle de bain? If you're going to go somewhere, you got to know where that is, right? We're talking with Paul Magnan, and he is the author of The Coming of Dis, and it is book 1 of The Q, The Unknown. This is the first one. This is the one I received from Paul. And then he has the other one, book 2, book 3, and then, I don't have enough arms, and then book 4. What about the covers of your upcoming book with the short stories?
Well, the short stories, well, that's what I have there. I got that cover pretty much the same place. That was published through Amazon as well. And that's the cover they had. And I liked it because it had almost like tire marks veering. So,
do you get a choice when you do it on Amazon?
Yes, they have several different choices, several different themes that you can choose on.
I heard from the authors that it's, I'm not into the financial part, but of what it costs, but is it really inexpensive to do it?
Yes, it is. To publish through Amazon is free. Basically, what you do is you send them the manuscript, and they format it for you, and you choose one of their covers. And the only thing in the end is, when it comes to price, they take a percentage, which is only right.
A percentage of what it costs.
Yes, they say someone buys one of my books for $13.99, I will get a royalty of $4 or $5, and they will get the rest.
I don't like that.
Well, maybe it's more than that. So I get I don't know. I think it's 60-40 in my favor. So I'm probably understating it there.
I thought it was like a fee per word or a fee per page.
No.
It's just that you submit your manuscript to them at no fee. Well, I bet you there's some dishonesty going on. Some people say, "Oh, I really didn't sell that." How does Amazon know?
Oh, people order through Amazon.
Okay, that way they know.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that way. But this is great. I mean,
but the thing of it is, I can also get author's copies, which is half price, which only I pay for.
Yep.
It doesn't go to them. Well, it does to an extent. And I sell those on my own.
Yeah.
And Amazon doesn't see a cent of that, which is right.
How many books do they send you?
Whatever I order, they can send me anywhere from 1 to 50 if I wanted to order that many.
And it's at no cost.
Well, except for, it is cost. There is it's almost like a half price or less than half price for it to order.
Like if you ordered.
But then again, I sell them for full price.
Yeah.
And I make money that way.
So if you ordered 25 copies, say.
Yes.
What would it cost you? Do you have to pay Amazon?
Oh my goodness! And you're asking me to do math.
Well, you're better at it than I am. How you'd be graded it compared to me?
Well, let's say $6 per book.
Okay,
$6 see 120,
150?
150, yes.
Then that's for only 25.
Yes.
And
then I would sell them for $13 or $14 each.
Yeah.
And if I sell them, I make, that's double what I paid for them.
Do they get them to your order? Do they get it to you quickly?
Yes, they do. Within before COVID it was quicker, obviously, but
Yeah.
within a couple of weeks I get them.
That's not bad.
No.
Okay, so 150 for like 25. That's not too bad.
No.
But then they get a royalty off what you sell on
Yes.
Amazon, not
well,
what you
the thing
sell.
of it is they print it, they package it, they create the book itself,
I like
and then
that.
they send it to me.
As long as you, okay, on Amazon I can understand they take a percentage, but they can't take it from you in a fair or anything like that.
No.
No, good. That should never happen.
No.
We've got about 3 minutes to wind up. We've been talking with Paul Magnan from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and he is a dark fantasy writer. He's done the book on short stories, as well as the series of 4 that he has. And he's got another short story one coming up. When do you think that'll be ready?
I'm not sure. I gotta wait. Listen, my last short story published came out in August. That was the Violent Vixens one. The next one, I'm not sure. I haven't received any word yet, but...
Oh, you've sent it in?
Yes.
Oh, so...
I submitted to the publisher, and they let me know if they want it or not.
Well, wouldn't it be easier just to send it to Amazon? And
Oh, no. Excuse me. When it comes to short stories, I send them to magazines, online, and so on. And I submit it to them, and Amazon doesn't publish. They'll publish my short story anthology, but actual short stories themselves,
They won't do it.
They don't do that. No,
That's
as far as I know.
okay. So we're going. You've sent it in, and you're just waiting for it.
Right.
When do you think it might come out? Summer?
I don't know. Possibly.
This is going to be great. You can go right downstairs. And one more time, Paul, how can they get a hold of your book?
Through Amazon. That's probably the best bet. Or seeing me when I make an appearance, either at the Comic-Con, the Expo, or maybe someplace in Massachusetts if they'll have me.
Any place in Massachusetts. And also, how far will you go if somebody's watching, wants you to come? Will you go outside of Massachusetts and Rhode Island? All over New England?
If I have the time, and if I have, yes, certainly.
You will.
Okay.
All right, because I always ask my authors, I say, okay, I'm going to do the research for you. I'm going to let you know in listings of the contacts, everything you need. How far do you want to go? Now, some are, I'll stay in Rhode Island, or I'll stay in Massachusetts. But they're completely forgetting about the tsunami of places outside of it, which is kind of a nice drive. It's pretty up in New Hampshire or, Connecticut.
Yeah, 100 miles or so. I mean, I'm not sure. It depends, but...
Do you belong to a book group at all? Writers?
I used to, but unfortunately they disbanded some time back.
The COVID thing?
Yes,
Oh my
pretty
God.
much. Again.
Bring it back. Thank you for being with us, Paul. And I'm going to look forward to the next one coming up, the short stories.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
We've
it.
got to get him back. Take care. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Take care.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.